What's up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about why I decided to go into making a video game. So, the whole really random thing started sometime around like 2020 or so, or 2019. I remember there was like a Humble Bundle that was selling, some courses bundled together. They were like, oh, learn game development for $35. And I was like, hey, okay. I mean, if there's a course that can teach me game development for $35, I might as well go ahead and buy it. And many of you, some of you know, some of you don't know, I'm a school teacher. And one of the really fun parts about people like us is we're lifelong learners. Anything that we can learn, we really do want to learn. It's weird. So I said, okay, I'm going to put this on the back burner and I'm going to go ahead and, maybe one day pick it up and I'm going to learn. So sometime around 2020, at the end of the year, I went ahead and said, you know what? I wonder what game development looks like. I wonder what that whole journey is going to, come to. And so I decided, okay, let me jump in and let me start learning. I mean, it's just watching videos and doing stuff, right? And plus, by this time, I'm already making YouTube videos. I look at the requirements to get Unreal Engine or get Unity, and my computer basically meets the requirements. So I'm like, sure, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to start doing this. So I jump in and I actually start doing this. And behold, I find out that I'm actually really interested in this stuff. Like, I'm enjoying myself. I'm watching tutorials. I'm doing cool stuff like this. If you see it on the screen, this is I picked up this character and I just rigged some cool stuff to her weapon. This is one of the epic characters that I was given for free. I put her in a physics environment and I did some time dilation, and it just looks really cool. The destructive mechanism just looks really cool, and I captured the footage and I was like, man, this looks so freaking cool. But in that time, in the learning, I also was learning how difficult game development was. But by that time, I'd also started a Video Game Fight School channel, right? And on starting the Video Game Fight School channel, we hadn't gotten Gotham Knights then. We hadn't gotten Suicide Squad. We hadn't even seen anything about them, really, around the time that I started. But I remember after we eventually saw them at the DC Fandom event of 2020, and then we found out that they weren't even coming out soon, I thought to myself, imagine how many years it's taken for them to bring a superhero game to us. So my deal was the time. The communities had basically been formed around people just waiting for the potential video games that were going to be released in the DC universe. Even after the Marvel Spider-Man game of 2018, even before then, we hadn't gotten anything really cool. And then even after that, it was still kind of a waiting game. I know we got Guardians of the Galaxy. We also got Avengers, which was basically kind of a weird, interesting situation, because that game basically came out to a fan base that was looking for something like the Spider-Man game, thinking the Avengers was going to basically close that gap. But it seemed like the commercial side of things had, taken over. So what was the situation? What was the solution? I decided, you know what? Maybe I need to go ahead and make myself a video game. Maybe I need to be able to see if I can, provide fans what it is that they need. But there was still a lot of learning to be done, because at this point I'm working solo. I'm doing everything by myself. And so sometime around, 2021, 2022, I get burned out. At this point, I'm doing YouTube. At this point, we have a new baby, and at this point, I'm also working a full-time job and trying to do game development. And ladies and gentlemen, I was done. So I finally made the conclusion and said to myself, you know what? If I'm ever going to do this, I'm not going to do this by myself. I'm not going to do this solo. I'm going to bring a community of people along with me who are going to be able to look at the work and support it, and who are going to come out and give feedback. And most importantly, people who are going to help me build the game, who already know a lot about different areas of the game development that I'm not really well versed at. And I put everything down. I basically went and shut down the whole thing. And I said to myself, we'll probably come back to this in the back burner. And I think it was last year, I decided, let me give this one more shot. And I decided I was going to pick up, designing a level and just making a playable area from point A to point B, beat a bunch of bad guys, and then fight a boss. That's basically what it was. And as I started making that level, I hit another block. I suck at level design. It's a very hard enterprise. It's not easy to do at all. It was one of the first things that I learned, though, which is weird, because, it will help you kind of learn the engine. It'll kind of help you learn the tools and all of the above. But I can tell you that in that time period of doing that, it was also kind of difficult. That here's some video footage of me actually working on some open world level, putting fences together. And, this thing was like harrowing. And I'm thinking to myself, man, how do they do these big villages and how do they do these big worlds, right? But as time went on, this footage is actually, old. It's like 2020, like November of 2020. But as time went on, I realized you have to get people to actually do this stuff so that you can focus on what it is that you're actually good at. So I went out there and I put in, just put out just kind of an ad on the Unreal Engine forums and on, Unreal Engine platforms where you can actually hire people who are developers who do stuff. And I've been able to come in, contact with some really cool people who are now helping me work on the very first phase of this particular game, which in due time I will show you guys. And by the way, check the Discord link. If you want to know any more about that, join the Discord server. Once announcements start going up, you'll see them on YouTube. You'll also be one of the first to know on Discord. And so I started to go ahead and, talk to people and found somebody who was well-versed in this, who's been really pivotal in the whole process. And we are now making some headway and making some progress. And at this point in time, I think I see more of the light, at the end of the tunnel. I'm praying. I don't know if you're religious. I am. And I'm praying. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, making a video game is nothing short of a miracle. It's just what it is. This is why games that even have funding, have people, still go into a development spiral and many times get canceled because it's just insane. So I think, and I'm certain, that the only way I was able to meet these people were by some divine ordinance to be able to find people that could do this stuff, were willing to work with me in doing this stuff, and not just do that, but also help me. They're not just working with me, they're actually helping me. So this is a whole different level of something that I hadn't seen in the last few years when I first started this journey. And it's really exciting to see that they're not only just helping me, but they're committed to actually making sure that the project reaches the point that we needed to reach before we can actually bring it to you guys and show you guys. So all of this has been exciting. And my dream and my vision is to basically fill that void where we as a community who like hero games and who like superhero characters don't have to wait 6, 7, 8 years before the next one comes out. That we can actually enjoy some shorter games that make sense, games that have lore, with them, that have stories that we can rally around and talk about and build and even start exchanging ideas and suggestions. And hopefully we're able to start changing the landscape of the hero conversation, the superhero games, and the nerds can basically rise again and reinvigorate that frame of mind that was there when these characters that we like a lot were initially created. This has been the big thing around my mind. It's just been crazy thinking about all of this stuff and looking at the superhero games community and going, man, this is one of the most disenfranchised communities because the games are coming out with a huge commercial emphasis. No longer are they coming out with the emphasis of people who actually enjoy the IPs or enjoy the characters. And that's a big challenge. And even those who enjoy the characters and enjoy the IPs, they seem to be getting pushed out. Look at Stefan Hill and Jamie Walker. They've gone to go start their own studio, leaving Rocksteady behind, because the corporate mandate is that Rocksteady should be supporting a live service game. When in reality, they could have spent that 8 years and half of it, they could have made a single player game. And possibly if they wanted live service, they could have tacked on a live service to the single player game with the remaining 4 years. And that would have actually been a very good middle ground for the community. I think you can stay, if you need live service games to make money, there are ways to do it. Look at Helldivers. They've been able to take basically something from culture with Starship Troopers, I said Star Trip, and be able to basically follow its satirization and put it in a video game. And that's why it's doing very well, because they looked at something that would resonate with the fans. That's the most important thing, the thing that's going to resonate with the communities and the fans. And if that's missing, then usually you're going to find yourself in a really strange situation, just the way that they found themselves in a very strange situation with the superhero games. But anyways, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Talk to me, and hopefully we can talk pretty soon in another one. Peace out.